Today, I'm going to teach you how to embroider the Lehigh shield. I actually started this last night, so it's a little bit like one of those videos, where at the end of the cooking show, they take out the beautifully finished lasagna that had to start cooking 2 hours earlier. But I will tell you what I did, and I'll also show you some things. First of all, don't be scared. Sometimes people see a needle and thread and they go, oh no, that's something that only people who are experienced sewers know how to do. I am here to promise you that I first did embroidery when I was 4, and then I didn't do embroidery for decades. And in 2017, I went to the Pomegranate Guild Convention, I read some books, I watched some YouTube videos. If I can do it, you can do it. So what I did last night to start actually just involved my iPad. I went to Google, I looked up, Lehigh University logo, and I took out a nice simple square of felt. You can use absolutely any kind of fabric you like, but I do recommend a light color if you're new to this. I took out my iPad, I put it right here. I took out the felt, I put it over the shield, which I enlarged to the right size, and I just sat there with a pencil and I traced it. And it's great to have a stitch rest. I cannot recommend a stitch rest enough. It's a little magnet, it keeps you from losing your needle. And of course, it's helpful to have an embroidery hoop. So we're gonna pretend that I'm starting this. And for the engineers in the crowd, here is my simple machine of the screw that holds this together. My daughter is 9. She learned about simple machines last year in school. She now knows more about physics than I do. But all you have to do with an embroidery hoop is put one loop in the back, and one loop that expands just goes on the other side of the fabric, and you close it. So I am recreating the exciting scene in my guest room at about 7 o'clock last night. A lot of people have turned to craft during our current pandemic, and that actually matches what I found in my research. My book is about something called generative resilience, which is a big fancy word for me saying that the folks I interviewed found that knitting and sewing and other crafts help them get through tough times in their life. So the most important stitch, and there's only 2 stitches you need to know to do this, is called outline stitch. What a surprise! It's for making the outline of things. You bring your needle up through the fabric, and then you put it down, and you're gonna bring it back up when you're halfway through the stitch. That's the only part that's tricky. Before you've got the whole stitch down, you want to pop this up in the middle and then start to make the next stitch. So it's really, you're just going up, over, in to the fabric, and then you just pop it up halfway through. It's very soothing. If you like adult coloring books, that can be a lot of fun. And all you do is go up and down. You don't even have to be as fancy as I'm being. You can do something called running stitch. All you're trying to do is get the needle in and out so that it covers the line. That's all. And I don't have to worry that the line is there, it's being covered up by this. So satin stitch is lovely because it's what I did on the heart here as well. You're just coloring in. This is the part where you're doing the adult coloring book and you're just filling in the outline. And all you have to do satin stitch, it's even easier than outline stitch, is pull the yarn up, sometimes it's yarn, pull the floss up, put it down, and make a stitch straight across whatever you want to fill in. I don't recommend anything too large. And then you just come up again at the bottom and you make another one right next to it, really tightly beside it. And it's called satin stitch because when you layer all of these nice lines right next to each other, you get a nice sort of satin connection here. And it's really lovely. So those are the only 2 stitches you need to know in order to stitch the Lehigh logo.